Okay, everyone, Rabbi Goodson here. All right, this is going to be part 2 of my message of being obedient to the Torah. Now, this is going to be sticky. It always gets me in trouble with every messianic out there. I don't care who they are. They're always disobedient. They always get me in trouble. I always get in trouble with them. Mostly because it hits home. And this is where I'm going to commend the Christians. Excuse me, I'm drinking my coffee. I'm going to commend the Christians on that. We may say that they're deficient. I'm not covering it up because I don't want the flies to get in it. We may say that they're deficient in many ways, and they are. But on this one, they obey. And I'm going to commend them. And it's in tithing. You know, the Messianics, we say, we know the truth. We know the Torah. We follow the Torah. Well, if we know the Torah, and we follow the Torah, and we teach the Torah, should we not follow all of it? Or is there just parts of it that we're not going to follow because it's inconvenient to do so? One of them is tithing. Messianics. And I'm going to come down on you very hard on this. This is going to be very hard, and it's going to be directed mostly at you. You want to know why you're in the financial straits you are? You know, I'm on Facebook, and I'm always being invited to donate to these fundraisers for everyone. I've stopped doing fundraisers on Facebook because, you know what? No one ever does it. And I always ask them, do you follow the Torah? They block me and unfriend me. But you know why? You're always saying, look, I need help financially. Well, why aren't the Christians doing that? Why aren't the Christians going in onto Facebook? And maybe they do, and I just don't catch them, and I'm not part of their pages. But why aren't they doing it? Because they are obedient to the tithing. They have enough that not only can they tithe, but they have enough for themselves as well. Yet Messianic, you rationalize why you're disobedient. You rationalize why. You try to explain the way why you're not going to be obedient. Oh, well, tithing was just to the temple. And tithing was not to money. Tithing was just food and livestock. They take that all out of context, which Messianics seem to do. More so than Christians. I can excuse Christians for doing that because they were not properly taught Torah. That's one of the reasons why I'm out here doing what I'm doing, to teach them to properly follow the Torah. Because they don't understand it. So they have an excuse. They have been taught wrong all their life about the Torah. You, Messianic, are different. Now, Christian, I'm not meaning to insult you or anything, and I mean no offense when I say this. Christians are ignorant. Now, there's a difference between ignorance and stupidity. Ignorance was when you really don't know. When you don't know. You don't know about the subject. You've never been taught. No one's ever really talked to you about it. So you don't know. That's ignorance. And that's excusable. But when you say you know these things, You know the Torah and you're obedient and you don't do it. Now it's different. So Messianic, I can excuse the Christians on this. I cannot excuse you. You want to know why you're in the position you're in financially? Why you're always struggling? Why we're struggling? You want to know why? Because you violated the Torah in the tithing. And you try to excuse it, you try to explain it by saying, oh, well, it was just food. It's just wine. It's just livestock. When in reality, you know that's not true. Because in Leviticus, right after what he says, what the tithes are, he makes a provision. He says, if you live more than a day's journey from Jerusalem, or from the temple or tabernacle, you may sell your tithe and take the gold and silver to the temple or tabernacle and make your tithe that way. You ever heard of temple tax? It was not made by that part of the tithe to support the temple or the tabernacle. That was not paid, the tax wasn't paid in animals or food. It was made in gold and silver. Now, I'm sorry if you hear that. I live in Alice, Texas, and so you're going to hear the train. We got tracks running through the town. But it was made in gold and silver to pay your taxes. You know, when I had the synagogue up in Dumas, Texas, many towns today, and this is why I'm always saying you've got to do it the modern way. And this is where a lot of Messianics, they unfriend me because, again, I hit a nerve. They know what I'm telling you, and they just don't want to be obedient. This is called willful disobedience. And disobedience is likened unto witchcraft. It's called rebellion. Rebellion is likened unto witchcraft. Okay? So hear me well, Messianic. You may not like it. Okay, unfriend me. Block me. I don't care. I'm going to preach the truth regardless if you like it or not. All right? So you might as well just accept that fact and move on. When I had the synagogue up in Dumas, Texas. Now, Dumas, Texas is an agricultural town. But like most towns today, towns and cities today, there are zoning laws, which means that you can't have livestock, such as cattle, sheep, goats, chickens. Sometimes you can have chickens depending on where you're zoned. You can't have produce unless it's at the store. Anyway, there was this guy, he was a farmer. One of the farmers there, because it's an agricultural town. And he goes, and I always taught strict obedience, tithing as well. He goes, well, and he did this as well. Well, if you want me to be obedient, then I'm going to be truly obedient. He says, I'm going to bring my tithe. I go, okay, cool. And what did he do? He brought cattle. He brought sheep. I'm like, what's this? He said, this is my tithe. I'm like, do you not understand? We're living in a city, in a town that has zoning laws. You see, folks, 95 to 97% of all synagogues and churches are in towns that have zoning laws. They don't have the facilities, either because of where they're at, because of the area of it, or because of the law, the zoning laws in those towns, to accept that kind of tithe. He says, if you want me to tithe, then that's how you're going to accept it. And I looked at him and I said, so you're admitting you're going to be obedient. You're just telling me why you're going to be obedient. Disobedient, rather. I said, did you not? He said, no. Tithing is just this. It's not money. And I said, then what about Leviticus? What about the part in Leviticus that says that if you live more than a day's journey, sell your tithe and use the gold and silver? I had to step away for a little bit. But you see, he was giving me the tithe in that way. And he knew the zoning laws of Dumas, Texas. He said, I am never going to give you any money. This is how I'm going to give you the tithe. I told him, okay, so you're not going to tithe. Is that it? You're telling me you're going to be disobedient in this. This is why, you see, this is why I'm saying, you're trying to explain your disobedience in a way that makes you feel good when it's entirely disobedient. It's still disobedient. 95% of every synagogue and church cannot accept that kind of tithe because of where they're at and their facility. They can't facilitate it. So what shall we say then? Then you don't have to tithe? That's not what the Bible says. Messianics, I have asked you several times, show me in the Bible where it says tithing has been done away with, that where we're exempted from tithing. You can give me, you tell me what Leviticus 27 says, but you cannot show me where it says we're not supposed to tithe anymore, where we don't have to tithe anymore. Where does it say that? And you can't show me because it doesn't say that. So you're in violation of the Torah. Well, we're not going to give money. Well, why not? I mean, I'm sorry, but bills are not paid by livestock. What are we supposed to do with the livestock? Now, I had one person say, well, they can go out and get turtle doves. Really? Get turtle doves? Where are we going to get a turtle dove? Okay, when she said that to me, I Googled it. Where to buy turtle doves. Actually, I'm on Bing. I don't use Google. I use Bing. Where can I buy turtle doves? Now, I live in Alice, Texas right now. Okay, that's where my congregation is. That's where that's where I do my ministry. Okay. Now, where is the closest turtle dove dealership to me? There wasn't one, but I could buy them if I were willing to go up to Nebraska, to Minot, Nebraska. Or, yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was in Nebraska. Now, they don't ship the turtle doves. I would have to physically go there, pick the turtle doves up, buy them, and then physically come back to Alice. If I didn't do that, I would have to go out and hunt the turtle doves. Which means I would have to get a hunting license. So, that's kind of out of the way, huh? So what do? Why don't you do the modern equivalent to it? Just give the money to whomever you're going to tithe to. Send them the money so that you are obedient. So Messianic, I know what you're going to say to me. I already know it. But I don't care because I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to tell you everything. I'm going to harp on you on this one until you decide you're going to just be obedient. You know, one of the questions that I've always asked, Are Christians more obedient than we are? Again, we know the Torah, or so we say. We're supposed to follow the Torah. Yet, do we? You know, Deuteronomy chapter 30 says, in fact, let us go to Deuteronomy chapter 30. Sorry about that. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to kill my phone one of these days. I'm going to have to buy me a new phone. Deuteronomy chapter 30. Okay. Verse 11. Verse 11. Again, this is the easy to read version. This command that I give you today is not too hard for you. It is not a secret hidden in some faraway land. This command is not in heaven, so that you should say, who will go up to heaven for us and bring it to us so that we may hear and do it? This command is not on the other side of the sea, so that you should say, who will go across the sea for us and bring it to us so that we can hear it? No, the word is very near to you. It is in your mouth and in your heart, so you can obey it. Verse 15. Today I have given you a choice between life and death, success and disaster. I command you today to love the Lord your God. I command you to follow him, to obey his commands, laws, and rules. Then you will live, and your nation will grow larger. And the Lord your God will bless you in the land you are entering to take for your own. But if you turn away from your God and refuse to listen, if you are led away to worship and serve other gods, you will be destroyed. I am warning you today, if you turn away from God, you will not live long in that land across the Jordan River that you are ready to enter and take for your own. Today I am giving you a choice of two ways, and I ask heaven and earth to be witnesses of your choice. You can choose life or death. The first choice will bring a blessing. The other choice will bring a curse. So choose life, that you and your children will live. You must love the Lord your God and obey him. Never leave him, because he is your life. He will give you a long life in the land that he, the Lord, promised to give you to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So it's not too difficult to follow the Torah. And if you follow the Torah, you'll be blessed. Messianic, you want to know why you're not being blessed? Because you're refusing to follow the Torah. You are refusing in the tithes. You are rationalizing why you're being disobedient. It doesn't matter why you're doing it. Yahweh Elohim does not care why you are being disobedient. He only cares that you are. You know, I always said, why do you make it hard on yourself? Why don't you do it the easy way? And like I said, 95 to 98% of all synagogues and churches do not have the facilities to handle livestock. And here's another thing. 95 to 98% of all Messianics don't have access to that. They live in towns, they live in cities where they can't get that stuff. So what are they supposed to do? Here, simple. Let's do things the modern way. Just give the money. You know, there's one ministry out there, 119 ministry. It's a good ministry. I'm not saying that they aren't. But they teach that you don't have to tithe anymore. Yet they want you to send them money so that they can do it, so that they can continue operating. To me, that's a little hypocritical. They say, oh, your tithe is not money. Oh, but send us money so you can support us. Well, isn't that a tithe? So they're telling you, don't tithe. Basically what they're saying is, don't bother tithing anymore. They're telling you to be disobedient. Yet here is an organization who says the Torah remains. And I'm saying they're okay, they're good. They do teach a lot of good messages. But in this regard, they're not. And I have said this, that if what you're being taught elsewhere does not conform with the Torah, if they tell you you don't have to do that, run away from it. So Messianic, my question to you is, are the Christians more obedient than we are? You know, I said this also. We should be taking the world by storm, but we're not. How many people can honestly say, Christians, how many of you can say that before you started listening to me, you knew what a Messianic Jew was? Or Hebrew? How many of you knew that? I can count on one hand how many actually knew. We should be taking the world by storm. You know, I did another Bing search for Messianic synagogues, and I just did Texas alone. Now, there are groups. I'm not saying there aren't. But do you know how many synagogues are in the state of Texas? Or I should say registered? 4. 2 in San Antonio and 2 in Dallas. Now, I'm not saying there aren't other groups. You know, home groups, what happened. That's another thing. They rationalize why there aren't. We should be taking the world by storm. There should be a synagogue, like the Baptists, in every town. And yes, I did say synagogue. Not group, synagogue. And why isn't there? Well, why should he bless us if we're not going to be obedient? Why should Yahweh Elohim bless us if we're not going to be obedient in this? Why should we be blessed financially if we're not going to be obedient? You know, I got a friend, and I'm not going to tell you his name, but he does tithe to this ministry. Good things are happening to him. Why? Because he's being obedient. He is finally being obedient. His life is coming back under order. Now, yes, there are times you're going to have disorder. But bottom line is, when you're obedient to the Torah, there is order. Okay? When you are obedient to the Torah, there is order. And so therefore, his life is coming back to where it should be. Now, naturally, he can make improvements on a lot of places, but he's being obedient in this. And so Yahweh Elohim is blessing him. Messianic, if you want blessings, you must be obedient. Now, again, I want to make this perfectly clear. I don't care if you don't give me the money. I couldn't care less if I tried. I couldn't care less. All I am concerned with is that you are obedient and that you do tithe. Pick a ministry and give them 10% of your income. Again, not all of us work on a ranch, have a ranch or a farm at our disposal. Nor could we afford a cow, a cattle, or the livestock. So you give what you can. And if the only way you can do it is through money, you give money. Okay? You give the money. And let the ministry, church, or synagogue use it. Because I'm going to tell you something. As much as I would love it, it would be nice. The power company and the city do not accept livestock as payment for the bill. It would be nice if they did, but they don't. You got to give them hard, cold cash, unfortunately. So be obedient. Messianic, this is directed squarely at you. You want to get the blessings? Be obedient. I know you're not going to like it. You're going to say, but wait a minute here. The Bible says this is the tithe. Yes, it does. Back during the days of the temple. And that's what I said. Messianics, you cannot show me where it says tithing has been done away with, where we are now exempted from tithing. Nowhere. There is no scripture, either in the Tanakh or either in the Torah, the Tanakh, or the Brit Hadashah. That, for you Christians, that would be the law of Moses. The rest of the Old Testament, and the Brit Hadashah is the New Testament. Nowhere in there does it say that we are exempted from tithing simply because there is no temple and there are no Levitical priesthood. Nowhere does it say that. And Messianics, if you say, "Oh well, it was just for the priests," really? Okay, I'm willing to go with that. But where does it say now you don't have to tithe? You can't answer that because it doesn't exist. Okay? Once again. I also had someone say, well, I'm not going to support anybody. You've got to have a job. Well, number one, I do have a job. But number two, where does it say that in the Bible? Well, the apostles, the disciples had jobs. Yes. Paul was a tent maker. Actually, no, he wasn't. His father was, which he did help. But he was a Pharisee too. And he did not go wherever they were and just do that job. His job was to spread the truth, as were the rest of the disciples. So, you know what? Your arguments fall to nothing. Your arguments are not arguments, they are excuses as to why you're not going to be obedient. All right, into part 2, and that's it. Be obedient to the Torah. We say that we are the obedient ones, then let's show it. Be obedient. Send your tithe in money. Because today, in modern day, with the laws and the zoning laws we have in effect, there's no way we can sit and do that. And no one accepts livestock as payment for bills. So if you want to be obedient, and I've always said this, if you choose to be disobedient, then do as you will. We're given a choice. You can be obedient and you can be disobedient. Your choice. But kindly leave me out of it, because I want to be obedient. Do you know how I tithe? I tithe in money. I just give them the money and let them use it, because I choose to be obedient. All right, everyone. That's it. Remember, obedience. He desires obedience over sacrifice. Just be obedient. Shalom, shalom.